so there's a songwriter I've gotten to know the last year named Dallas Davidson. He did the commencement speech. I think it was UGA. He got up there and he's like, getting them all hyped up and excited. Woo, yeah, you graduated. And then he's like, let's talk about the industry. He's like, I'm your competition. He's like, I got Grammys, I got platinum records, I got this. Like, I'm not gonna just give this to you. So you got to be so good to get through the door. You got to be good enough. That's the key. But the thing is, like, imagine having that level of competition and then being a crappy person people can't trust.
Right.
You can't go. You can't make it. But the guys who are good dudes but are sharp and good enough at what they do, you got a shot.
Yo, it's your boy Phil Wham Bam Benamino. It's another Wham Bam Wednesday, baby. You know, the show about ordinary people who've done extraordinary things. And today we got a treat for you. But first, as we always say, subscribe, baby. Click the link down below. Subscribe to our podcast. We're giving you great information, showing you great people, and show us a little bit of love back. Today's guest, I got producer, I got entrepreneur, and I say that because he's got a hell of a nonprofit, even though he's not making money off of it, but there's a lot of good things happening. We got Kessler Cuffman in the house today. How are you, Kess?
Dude, just living that dream.
There you go. There you go. You got to tell me a little bit about, obviously being a producer, you've worked with, some stars like Rihanna. You work side by side with maybe, Justin Bieber. You've had a few, big celebrity names, A-list people that have come across, in your face. Tell us a little about how you met those relationships and how that happens.
Well, a lot of those guys are through people on my team, and they've, got all these different cuts, and that's great. But, it's those different cuts with those different people throughout the team has been the result of trying to build a nonprofit that helps kids and, being positioned in the music industry, doing stuff, and then using that to help people, and then that leading to all these other opportunities that ended up, moving the needle for all of us as creators, which has been amazing. So
let's talk about that. Let's get right into it. You're a nonprofit for kids, because how does somebody go ahead and start a nonprofit, and what was your purpose of it all?
So if you start a nonprofit, you better really like it, because it is really freaking hard. I joke about
how do you get paid? How do you work? Who pays you?
Well, people are like, oh yeah, tell us what you do, but whatever. And I was like, I convince people to give me a lot of money for free to help people. Yeah. And they're like, well, what do they get back? I'm like, they feel good, and they might get a tax write-off.
There you go.
So, it's literally fundraise money, run programs, and then hopefully that excites people and they keep giving money, or you get grants or whatever, and then you can build a thing. And normally they stay kind of small, and ours has gone from nothing to something pretty big that's, launched in 3 cities and serving over 4,000 students, and is working directly with several major record labels and working with some of the biggest stars on earth to...
What's the name of it?
Up and comers, Dynamo Studios.
Dynamo Studios. And you said you're in 3 different cities right now?
3 established full-on programs, 3 different cities, but we've got stuff all the way up to Connecticut, and that's a bunch of guys. They just won a Grammy for Chris Brown's team, and they launched an awesome nonprofit there, and we're helping support that with curriculum and stuff. But then there's programs in LA and Virginia Beach and Orlando, and
So let's talk about this. Let's break this down a little bit for the viewers. When you talk about a program, you're creating programs and curriculums. Walk us through that. What exactly does that mean?
Yeah, in the simplest sense, instead of going to band in school, you go to learn to be a music producer. Instead of normal art class, you go learn photo, video design. And this is all through the music industry space. So if you're learning
hands-on, it's actually things...
Well, there's no better way to learn it,
right?
So if a kid wants to learn videography, it's not like we're gonna go shoot some random, school news thing. It's like, hey, we're gonna go shoot a music video for a rapper, and we're gonna work with this ad agency on it, or we're gonna work with the guys who did the Liquid Death brand. This is a group called Humanot, and they're in Chattanooga. So it's like, oh, hey, you're gonna go be on set with these guys, the top agencies on earth.
That's awesome.
So, the kids learn something, but then because we're in the industry, we take, I always say, if there's a class of 20 kids, there's probably 2 to 5 who really got it and can do something with it, or they're just really driven visionary, and we want to really go crazy with them. So everybody else grows and they have fun, but those 2 to 5, that 20-ish%, we put those in the industry because we have those relationships as professionals. And, we had a song for a kid got a cut on a Diplo song because he recorded the guitar for it. Right.
Oh, wow.
But that's because I was throwing that project and I was like, well, I need somebody to engineer. You want to do this? And he's like, yup.
That's cool.
Graduated with a Diplo, project.
Just a small little person out there. Yeah.
Real up and coming. But
what is that like for a kid, man? And obviously I know what it feels like for you, seeing the smile like that. But what is it like for a kid to get that opportunity to do something like that? Because there's kids their whole life that are really good out there, but don't get that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty sweet. I had one kid. I dropped him off. I picked him up from school, took him to the studio, and I dropped him off in the projects where he lives. And there was another student with me. I had to hold it together. I was about to just start weeping. It was amazing. He got out of the car and then looked back at the other kid. He's like, "We're getting out of the hood with this." And I was just like, "Oh my gosh, I'm
That's
so
why
happy.
I do what
this is
I
what
do."
it's about. So it's like I said, the industry stuff's cool, but that's all I care about. If I can leverage my opportunities, and my team is all about it too. And they're like, I'm doing my thing, but they're like, they got like diamond records, multi-platinum records, Grammys, all the stuff. And they're like, yeah, this is what we want to do. We want to help kids. We've got our stuff, but we want to leverage that to help. And it's so awesome. Like I was at this, producer writer thing, this camp with this team in Atlanta called Six Element. They're awesome. It's a joint venture with APG and Rock Nation. And Team 88 pulls up, and it's like one of the top producers on earth, like top like Atlanta producer guys. I mean, he's on everything. And we start talking about schools, and he's like, well, I went to this school, would you consider doing it there? And I was like, yeah, of course. Like he's like, I've always wanted to do this, but it's just like, it's so hard to get in, and like it's just, they want to work with this, but there's red tape and it's confusing. It's just hard to actually pull off. And I was like, dude, here's how you do it. Here's the whole playbook. I've got a teaching license, so when I go to talk to principals or school board or whoever, like they're like, oh, this is legit. I'm like, yeah. And here's also like these guys with a bajillion platinum records that want to back it. So this guy who has no reason to have to give back. He doesn't get anything out of it other than just like, oh, I made a difference.
Sure.
And that's what we talked about. I was at the camp to produce. Yeah. I was there to cut records, and we cut a bunch of big ones. But that's what we ended up talking about for like a couple hours.
Yeah.
Is like, man, how do we give back? How do we help? And this guy doesn't need that. Like, the dude's like huge.
Yeah.
And he's like, how do I do what you do?
That's awesome. So obviously you've done a good job. You got your name out there recognized for that person that's kind of headlining the whole thing. And you just get to know you for a few minutes. You can just tell you're a good dude. You know what I mean? And you got people's best interests, but you really are trying to help these kids. How old are these kids? What's the range?
Primarily 6th grade to 12th grade. There's another nonprofit we work closely with called Songbirds in Chattanooga, and we're in the middle of pursuing some sort of joint venture or full-on merger, and that will expand it to elementary as well. But currently 6th grade through 12th grade, and we're working on a dual enrollment model for college. So junior, senior of high school is the first 2 years of college, and they'll graduate as sophomores at university. And once that's done, that's a decade. I'm 34. I just crossed the legit decade of professional experience. Like a few years ago. They're going to graduate university at 19 or 20 years old with a decade of actual industry experience, like the resumes, the portfolios, all the skills. But some of these labels, they're looking at us like there's labels trying to sign the nonprofit to like huge publishing deals and all sorts of crazy things, which I was like,
that's not a horrible thing.
No, it's not. It doesn't suck. It's pretty cool. But they're like, we want to help, but they're like, we know who's teaching these kids. Like the guys on our team they're it. And they're like, we get first right of refusal, first dibs on like up and coming talent. Like this is where the top guys are going to be coming out eventually. So they've got an incentive to even sign the nonprofit, which I didn't pursue that. And then somebody's like, hey, would you consider signing with us? And I was like, what? I was like, you're that label. I can't say who yet, but I was like, are you kidding me? Like for real? No. And then I was
so you're in the midst of this right now.
Yes. We've got like several that are like, yeah, we want to do this and we want to do that. And
So tell me what it is that they want to do. When they want to sign you, what are they signing you for?
They're signing us because there's like songs coming out.
They want the
like,
music.
The kids they want to help. That's the main thing. They want to help.
That's
it's a great PR thing. It's like low hanging fruit. Like they look great, and that's awesome. But they're like, some of these kids actually like got it, and they've got these like A-list producers teaching them, so they know there's songs that are gonna be coming out that can get placed.
Right.
And they're like, we want first dibs on that kind of talent.
So it's not just kids that are actually being producers or learning how to do video and that, but do you have actually like singers and you got musicians and those stuff. So you're placing them in a great position, an opportunity to get seen and picked up.
Yeah, I was literally hung up when I pulled and parked in your driveway, and they were like, this is Rodney's A&R, like this Dark Child's A&R. This guy named V-Script, he's in Atlanta. He's the man, crazy songwriter. He's on the phone with a 16-year-old kid and his dad, being like, "Hey, here's how we're gonna work out distro for the single and like do a rollout for the rest of the year for a song a month, basically." And like we've got kids where I was like, "Oh, they actually really got it," on the artistry side too. It's insane, dude.
Yeah.
And it started just like, I had an idea that could fill gaps in public education and do what I do as an industry guy, but like really leverage some opportunities for kids in the inner city. And now it's this huge, gigantic operation.
That's awesome. That's good. Now, how do you go after these kids? You got to go into the schools, pitch your program to them.
Yeah.
How does that work out?
So it kind of depends on the scenario. We've got all these different types of programs and different tiers of like, how we actually engage people or partner with schools or other nonprofits. But primarily we do it in school, full-time public education as part of the free public education process. So it's an extracurricular, but right now career technical education is like CTE, workforce development stuff. Like you learn something that leads to a job, simplicity.
Right. But you don't actually go into the school. They have to come to you, right?
No, we go to school.
Oh, so you go inside the school and
Yeah,
teach.
they get credit for this.
Okay.
Yeah, like I have a staff and they're teaching full-time in schools.
Ah, okay.
So it's like, you go to like Block A's, like, Mr. Cuffman's production class or something.
Gotcha.
I'm not in the classroom anymore. I got to run the whole operation, but
Sure.
That's like basically how it works. Like there's a school called Midtown High School in Midtown Atlanta. And, they were in their music tech class learning from a producer named Bridges. And that was the day they announced the Grammys. He got 2 nominations last year.
Oh,
and
yeah?
he was like in the middle of teaching class and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh." Like, you actually are legit. And we're like, "Yeah, we're not kidding." But that's how we find the kids is like we run programs in the schools and, they sign up for these classes because they're interested in being producers or content creators or whatever. And
a lot of that going on. A lot of content. Yeah, a whole lot.
Yes, a whole lot. And we started with just music industry, but the creative economy is what we do now. And it's not fine arts. I have nothing against fine arts, but this is like, you're going to learn something in school and you can make money off of it. Because most of the kids, Midtown's a little different, but like most of the schools, especially in Chattanooga and in Nashville, like these kids like have nothing. Like they're very low income. So I was like, if you're going to learn something, let's find something you're interested in. They all want to be pro athletes or rappers. I was like, all right, cool. We can engage you with one of those things. And I was like, you might be a rapper, you might not, but we got a way for you to learn something that you're really excited about and we can move the needle for you. So they sign up because they want to be rappers. I was like, all right, cool. Let's work. And then they start getting into this mode. And then I'm like, oh, hey, here's a camera. Can you shoot photos of this thing? And then they discover that's their superpower. They're like, I like content, or I like, being a personality. And that's the funny thing. They got the kids who are the bad kids. There's some kids that are just bad.
Happens.
It's just the reality of the world. There's bad people,
Yep.
and they were kids at some point, and they were probably bad kids. It's okay. But the kids who are typically considered bad in a classroom are super hyper, but they're super charismatic. I'm like, that is like a cheat code for life. I'm like, just learn to use your powers for good. So we're helping them channel that by being content creators or artists or managers or whatever. I'm like, that charisma, like the way you demand attention and command attention that's your thing. Like that's your superpower. Let's lean into that. But the music industry lets you discover that. And the creative economy's got like, you could be a filmmaker, you could be a graphic designer, a set designer. You could be, like I mentioned them earlier. They got a huge wood shop. You could be in a construction class and learning to build sets. Like these guys are making great money building sets for huge commercials. Like we had a shoot last May, and I had some kids like the day after they graduated high school. I took them to Humanot, picked them up over in the projects, took them over there, and this group of seniors, they're just so awesome. And I put them in there, and they, like we walk into their Humanot facility or offices in their production space, and these guys had built a locker room, they had built a yoga studio, they built a doctor's office, but it all looked legit, and they built it from scratch in like a week.
That's awesome.
I was like, oh, that could have been a construction kid. You know what I mean? So now these schools, they're doing pathways where it's like middle schools, media 1, 2, 3, like 6th, 7th, 8th grade. And the high school, they got a full-on pathway.
Yeah.
You know?
I think more and more kids should be involved in things like that.
100%.
You know what I mean? I mean, they know how to dissect a frog. They know how to do calculus, but they don't know how to actually interact and actually get things done.
Yeah. Well, I suck at math. I'm trash at it. It's my worst grade I ever had. But I'm managing like a multi-million-dollar budget right now.
Yeah.
Nobody taught me that.
Right.
You know, I just learned from being in the industry, and I grew up in like punk and hardcore and the metal world and, you know, touring and all that stuff. But I saw my friends, like, they weren't doing music industry anymore, but they're going being super successful in all these different businesses. I was like, oh, music industry did that. That's why they're positioned to do it. But like, you learn by just being in the game.
Right.
Like, you got to learn you can't just be a guitarist. I'm a guitar player.
Yeah.
You can't just be a guitarist.
You consider yourself a good guitar player?
I get around.
Yeah? All right. Good job.
I mean, there's guys who are better than me. But that's another thing I tell the kids.
Are you a shredder or no?
Yeah, kind of. I got carpal tunnel. It's really hard. It like hurts to shred.
Yeah, that has a lot.
You know, so, but
You're only 34. That's too young to have carpal tunnel.
Well, it's because I played metal and didn't hold the guitar strap the right way. It was too low, and, you know, you're playing like this, and yeah, this is a mess in here. But I can still do my thing. But I tell the kids all the time, I'm like, y'all, there's people way better than me at literally everything when it comes to music. But I'm good enough, and people like me.
Right.
I was like, be a good hang and be good enough. Like, you're going to make it.
There you go. That's
yeah, it's a whole nother thing. But yeah, anyways, like, if you're a guitar player, you can't just be guitar. You got to know marketing. But it's like, oh, well, we're going on tour. What's the budget? How much? We get X amount for a guarantee. So how far does that go? All right, we're going to drive X amount of miles. So we got to stop at X number of gas stations and fill up whatever, you know, so you end up learning finance through that. And then it's like, oh, we're going to cut an album, and then there's going to be 2 or 3 music videos to support the rollout. And you got X number of hundreds of thousands of dollars to do everything. And it's like, oh, okay, so now I know project finance too. And then it's like, well, we've got to market. Okay, cool. Now I know marketing, you know, but you just learn this through the process. But the process is the coolest thing you could ever do.
Sure.
You know?
Well, because you're hands-on.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's true that not everything works, you know, and being in the music industry, being so hard, and being that there's so many people out there now that can do it from home, right? Where before you had to go to a studio, you had to do things, but now with technology, it's changed so much. It's made it a lot easier. People are putting TikToks out and different things to try to get their name and get their face out there.
Yeah, that's accessible.
You know what I mean? So those are changers with that. Has that affected anything that you do? Do you feel like that's
to some extent, yes. Because a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're setting these kids up for failure. The music industry so hard." I'm like, it's not just the music. There's so much to the industry. Like, I'm helping launch this brand called Nashville Grinder, and it's a coffee company.
Oh yeah.
Literally everything I know to help launch this brand. It's gonna be like, we got like A-list celebrity artists that are about to.
So you're launching a coffee company brand.
Yeah.
So you realize, what are you gonna do, like pop-up stores and stuff like that, or
nah, it's e-commerce.
E-commerce.
Yeah,
okay.
but this is the thing. Like, all this, the structure, the rationale and logic behind the whole company is the music industry.
Right.
Because I learned to be a producer, and I started as a guitarist playing in punk bands, right? But like, I'm like, hey guys, like, you used to make, I was at BMI. I was meeting with like the head honchos there, like the president and CEO and all that. And we're sitting there around this boardroom with all these big dogs, and they're all talking about the strategy. And I was like, guys, you're overcomplicating it. I was like, look, you used to sell an album one time for $20, right?
Yep.
Well, that was great. Everybody's making hundreds of millions of dollars. You could be a producer and be a millionaire in a year. Like, it was just a thing. Like, it was easy. It wasn't easy, but it was easier than it is now. It was easy compared to now, for sure.
Right.
But I was like, now I'm like, well, you got these artists. I'm like, their personalities, their artistries, their brand, their platforms, their brand. Cool. So, like, if you do coffee, I'm like, yeah, you signature blend, whatever. I mean, you get a cut just like you would with a record label. But I'm like, people buy coffee every month. I was like, you're getting $20 every month forever. I was like, that's real money. Your CDs are great. This is real money, though. But, it's like, that's that's all the music industry. I learned all that from hustling in the game and grinding and doing it,
that's good. Well, I just released my first book actually about a
sick.
month ago. It's actually Money Management for Beginners.
There we go.
And in that book, it's like a Cliff Note book because I hate to read.
Yeah.
So growing up and stuff, but I mentor a lot of kids with finances because they don't know, they don't teach you what to do with the money when you get it, type of thing. And kids get it, and what do? They buy new shoes, they go buy this, they buy that, and they spend, they're broke again. They got to go work some more. So. Through the process, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just put it in writing, put it in a book form for that. And then, man, the first week it went unbelievable. So put it out there. Yeah, it's on Amazon right now. So it's pretty cool. But the response from the kids has been awesome because they're like, thank you so much, for giving me a starting point. And that's really all they want. And that's what you've been doing with giving them opportunities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's like there's this thing called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's literally a hierarchy that has to be met for people to basically reach self-actualization. It's the peak of human development. But it's like you got to literally make it real for them. I'm like, you're part of something, your name's on something, that matters. All right, you moved up. You belong. All right, you moved up. You're safe, you move up. But then when you have like the vision and like, okay, like I know how to do this, I know what I want, and I'm going to go do it, that's self-actualization. And when you demystify it and give them the tools and make it practical, it's like, yeah, life's hard, but it's also at the same time, it's not as hard as people make it out to be.
Sure.
And if you can, especially kids, we like are.
Well, you got to enjoy it.
We make it fun.
Yeah.
And it's like accessible. It's like, all right, cool. Let's go be awesome at life and be successful with whatever it is we do.
Right.
Yep.
And that's part of waking up.
100%.
It starts with that.
But that's literally, that's what education's for.
Yeah.
It's to help kids or anybody wake up and realize like, oh, I can do this. Oh, this is right there. I just got to go get it. And here's how I'm going to do it. That's what education's for. Everybody's like over standardizing with all this stupid crap. And it's just like, look at the world. Like it's a train wreck. And I'm like, guys, like we're focusing on the wrong things here. Like, don't get me wrong. Math is important. Science is important. And we got to have that because it helps grows your mind. However, like my kids can't balance a checkbook. They get it. They get money and they're like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go
they look at the phone. What's in the account? That's all that matters.
Like, all right, cool. Let's go buy some shoes, or I'm gonna go drink or whatever. And it's just like, y'all, like, what are you doing? And they don't teach that in schools though.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm saying that as a public school kid myself, and like as a person who's led to millions of dollars getting invested in public schools. But that's a problem. Like it's broken, so we're trying to fix it. That's part of what inspired Dynamo is. This is broken. How can we fix it? Oh, we can fix it this way. And it's also right in my wheelhouse, the music industry. Amazing. Let's go.
Right. You get to do what you love.
Yes, exactly.
Along the way. Talk about how you got into music. So growing up, were you one of those kids that was banging on the drums and stuff at home with the pots and pans or what?
I wish. That's my only regret in life is not learning drums and piano first. But I learned guitar. Okay. And my dad was
But you know what? Guitars are hard. Like, I tried to learn a guitar. I'm not going to lie.
Guitar is definitely the hardest.
It's 6 strings. Yes. I had to go to the bass because I play 4. It was a lot easier. But yeah, it's hard, man.
It's the hardest, and it's an infinite combination of notes to form chords and melodies, whatever. But yeah, once your brain gets, you get older, it's like your brain like turns into a rock and you can't learn things. I don't know, but drums and piano, like I'm so bad at it. I've tried to learn it, but I started with guitar. My dad was a big music head and always had played like AC/DC and Led Zeppelin playing. And I was like, yep, I'm a guitarist. I listen to those bands. I'm a guitar player.
Who's your favorite guitar player?
Oh gosh, right now Mateus Asado.
Oh yeah,
the guy's a freak. He's so good. Yeah. He's so good. He absolutely wails, but then does the most tasteful, beautiful things, and it's like I don't know how he does what he does, but he's the best guitarist of our generation. There's no question about it. Like in our lifetime, I don't know if anyone will touch him. Even John Mayer's like, yeah, he's the guy.
Yeah,
and John Mayer's the guy. So
he's not bad.
Mateus Asado is definitely my favorite. Growing up, Angus Young for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's the goat. I love.
So what inspired you music wise? You said you were a punk band.
Yeah, I was in different hardcore bands and punk bands and did my thing, which was great. But in Cincinnati, it's like nowhere else I've ever been on earth, like with music. And I've gotten to do it all over the world. But with that, even in high school, like it was just a thing to open for huge tours. Like it was just a thing. And everybody was getting in these bands and playing these huge shows in front of people. And then one band got signed to this label called Rise. And then that got picked up by Sony. And I was just like, they're like, I run cross country with that kid. I want to do that. So I was like, yeah, that's dope. I'm gonna do that, and that's what I did.
So you got picked up by Sony? That was your first?
No.
Okay.
That band did. That
the
was
band,
like
gotcha.
they were 2 grades above me. I was a sophomore and they were seniors. I was like, oh my gosh, they're the coolest. I want to be cool too. And one of them was 18 and he went and got like a full sleeve of tattoos. I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
That's funny.
So now I'm like,
oh, you're working on it. You're working on it, huh? There you go.
Yeah, but that was what inspired me initially, was like just seeing other people be successful with it that were in my like immediate like friend group and like age group or age range, and then seeing them play these huge shows and watching like hundreds or thousands of people be like, whoa. I was like, I sit next to that kid in class. Like, what? I was like, I want to do that. So that's what honestly inspired me to do music. And I started doing that. It was kind of a hired gun for different people. And then while I was in college, and then stopped doing music for a little bit just because I was in the middle of university and just wanted to focus on getting that done, and then got it done, and then went crazy in music again while I was starting teaching. And then it all took off from there.
How'd you end up in Chattanooga, Tennessee?
Lee University. So it's a little private school in Cleveland, Tennessee, which is about 30 minutes north of Chat. And it's cool. Little private Christian school. It was awesome. Had a great time. And then my wife, I met her there. And I was like, I'm going to do the college thing, whatever. I'm not dating anybody. We're just going to chill. It's going to be awesome. And we met the first week. And then here we are. That was 2009. And it's 2025, and we've been together ever since.
Really?
So, yeah.
So is she in the music career with you as well?
No, she's like not that at all. She's great though. She's like literally the coolest and super sweet. But she was in school to be a teacher. She got her teaching job, like I think she got her offer before we even graduated. So I was like, all right, I guess we're here. But for me doing music, Chattanooga is an hour 45 to Nashville, hour 45 to Atlanta.
Right.
So I was like, I go to Atlanta for pop, hip hop, R&B, and Nashville for country and CCM. So I hit every genre basically that I'm interested in pretty directly, and I can still be home by dinner. Like we're doing this podcast a little later, but I'm normally in Atlanta like 2-3 times a week. I never miss dinner with my kids.
That's awesome.
It's same thing for Nashville. I got 2.
2? How old?
3 and 4.
Wow, right there.
COVID
Boy,
babies.
girl?
Girl. Yeah.
Playing instruments?
No, not yet, but they sing literally all the time. It's like the best. Like they literally sing themselves to sleep. Like we have to get on like we got these cameras in there where we can talk to them while they're trying to go to bed. Great. We're like, be quiet. Stop singing.
Well, you know what? So my daughter got into music, of course. Being a single dad, I actually raised her. And thank God for Barney, because Barney saved me. Because I'd put her in front of Barney and she would just sit there and sing, look at the TV and just sing. And turned out she actually a pretty good singer. So, but
well, there you go.
So we had a good run with that for a while. She put out some albums, got some music out there as well. So I have a little bit of an interest in the background, but we learned it the hard way. You know, people aren't always doing what they say they're going to do. You know, they're trying to charge you money. They're trying to charge you this, and then you don't own anything. You know, that was her very first video that we put out. We didn't realize spent this money to do, and turns around that we didn't own it at all.
Yeah,
so
welcome to the game.
Yeah, welcome to the game. Exactly. But you know, it's good that there's people like you out there that actually letting people know this stuff. Like, hey, be aware of this, and be aware of that, and follow this path versus the other, because there really isn't road books. You know what I mean? And people don't want to. People don't know. They just want to do something good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you don't realize what you're really getting involved in.
Yeah. 100%.
And people will lie to you. People will lie to you, especially if they need a job, they need money.
Well, the music industry is like it'll destroy you. Yeah, and they're very intentional about it too. It's not like it's no secret what it's like, and people are like, oh, is it really that bad? I'm like, yes, and it's so much worse. Like, like I had one guy, he signed a deal with this really big manager / producer in Atlanta, a pretty prolific guy. And the dude handed him one page of the contract in the middle of a session at like 3 a.m. And he's like, oh, yeah, sign it. This guy's legit. I'm going to sign it. He's big time. And then signing, dude's like, threatening to kill him over like royalties and splits and stuff. Like, where's my money? It's like, what? Right. And that's not even a normal label situation.
Right.
Where they just try to destroy you in every other way. And it's crazy out there. But that kid, Micah Carpenter, y'all look him up. Or not Micah Carpenter. That's another student. He's a great producer. Michael Walker is the student artist we're working with right now. And we were just talking to him about like, hey, dude, like, we're going to set you up where you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. It's going to build this, it's going to lead to that, and you're going to have this following, this engagement, this whole thing. It's not rocket science. It's really pretty simple. It's about consistency and, algorithm and playing that game.
Right.
I was like, once you're here, that's where we'll go to the labels and be like, all right, cool. Who wants them? And then you've got leverage at that point.
Sure.
And that's where labels aren't bad. It's like they're an investor. And think of it like VC. Like if you're an artist with no following, they're assuming all the risk. Of course your deal's going to suck.
Right.
That's
right.
There's use your brain.
Right. Right.
You got to come to the table
build your
with
brand
something.
first.
Exactly. So with these other artists, I'm like, build something, like you said, and then, your label's a great asset. Like they got all the institutional support. They own all the playlists on Spotify and Apple Music, and they can get your stuff out there and blow it up, but that's like, you can't go to them with nothing and expect them to give you everything. It's not going to happen.
Right. It's a business.
It's a business. It's literally that simple. And music doesn't make the money it used to. So you better come to the table the right way.
Especially with all the knockoffs, right? People stealing it and,
Yeah, it's a whole thing. But yeah, I mean, that's the other side of what we do. Like, it's like, it's great. We can help these kids like do it the right way and be protected and be safe. And like the labels that work with us directly are so supportive. They're so good to the kids. And a few of the labels we've worked with directly recently, the big one that's been amazing has been APG. Like Mike Caron's been awesome. Like Matt McFarland's over there. That's our guy.
Cool.
And, they're sending us briefs from artists, and like, those are the lesson plans I'm giving the kids. Like,
that's awesome.
You walk into class and you got like your clear learning target. It's like, all right, we're going to learn today. I'm like, today you're working on a song for Don Toliver. Here's what he wants.
They're like, what? Will I get my name in the credits?
Yeah. Well, I'm like, well, if they pick up your song, you're going to make a lot of money.
Right.
But, the labels are cool because they're like the ones we work with have been so generous and supportive. And like, there's like Warner up in Nashville, they even put together a deal for Metro Nashville Public Schools where they, if a kid releases a song through these programs, they help them with distro.
Oh, that's cool.
And stuff. So literally get like major label backing just for being a student and putting out songs. It's crazy. But
you got to think about it, as an investor, if you're doing that, they already have a platform. They already have a base. You know what I'm saying? So they know that, hey, this is probably, let's go to this well to get the water, type of thing.
And then it's like, if the kid's good, like,
right.
why wouldn't you want to get them first?
Right, exactly.
So, and we've had a few students get offers for a few things, which has been great. And we've been able to support them through that process and help them.
Who was the first kid that got an offer from you, got signed?
We haven't had them get signed yet because the deals weren't right. But we had this one student named Mac, and man, he tore it up. Like, he got up to like couple 100,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. Every label's having him for meetings, and he started with me. We opened the first big project we did as Dynamo back in 2016 was we built a big recording studio at a library.
Oh yeah.
And then this kid's mom emails me and is like, hey, my son's like really into music. You down to meet? And I was like, yeah, sure. So he comes through and I was like, whoa, he's cold. So I worked with him, and we got him into sessions at like Ocean Way in Nashville, and then he played basketball at Vanderbilt for a little bit. And I was like, yo, you're a basketball player at Vanderbilt. That's D1. Like, that's the big time. Use that as like your platform, leverage this, whatever. And he did. And then he was one of the early adopters of like TikTok, and, he tore it up.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Phil Benamino, CEO and founder of Cost Plus Processing, the company that provides financial services to your business. We provide things such as POS systems, ATM machines, and check services. One of the biggest things that we strive ourselves here at Cost Plus Processing is our customer service. We are an A+ rated with the BBB with customer service, and we're proud to say we're here in the United States with all of our customer service agents. Our objective is to actually teach you and educate you about the costs that you're currently paying and show you ways where you can eliminate those costs that you no longer have to pay. One of the biggest programs that are out there today is our dual pricing program. where you actually can offer your customers now a choice of how they want to pay. Do they want to pay with cash or do they want to pay with card? And if they pay with card, it actually helps you to absorb the card fees, so you no longer have to pay the fees like you've done for many, many years. Cost Plus Processing aligns ourselves with some of the top POS companies out there in the industry today. For example, we have perfected the car dealership industry, and our dedicated team are equipped to manage a variety of online payment forms and financing options that merchants require in this advanced ecosystem of payments. If you have a restaurant, we are proud to be able to manage the ongoing difficulties that arise from this fast-paced industry, and you're looking for pay at the table, where customers can easily swipe their cards, tap their cards, and make their payments with tip, and also have a choice of how they want to pay, we have the solutions for you here at Cost Plus. We want to help other small business owners make their dreams come true by providing the best financial support. From barbershops to liquor stores, having the ability to take payments, schedule online, and make calculating tip sharing an easy task only helps business owners put more attention and money into what really matters the most. Also, Cost Plus Processing is on the front end of AI. We can also provide you kiosks for your business, so customers can walk over to the kiosk and order anything that they want. Likewise, if you're having problem getting employees in the kitchen to work, we can also provide you robots that will actually deliver your food straight to the customer. I want to thank you for the time that you took to learn a little bit about Cost Plus Processing, and most importantly, why we are the future of merchant processing.
I mean, that was so cool to sit there, and I gave him a lot of tools, and he and I mean, that was a while ago, but you know, I was like texting him last week, and he's like launching this like cool basketball brand thing, and it's sick.
That's cool.
But you know, that one was, his name is Mac Hunt, and he is the man.
What do you look for? Like, you know, being a producer yourself and listening, like you have an ear for things. What are things that you're looking for that sets people apart?
You can be good all day. I care about your heart, and most of the big dogs care about that too. You don't make it long. You really don't in the industry if you are a crappy person.
Yeah.
Like we can't trust you, you're not getting in the door. And if we can't trust you, you're going to get booted quick if you were in the door before, and we're going to tell everybody about it.
There you have it, folks. Be good.
Yes.
Be a good person.
Treat people right.
Real simple. It's so easy.
Be honest.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how easy is that, though?
Yeah.
Really? Like, it takes zero effort to just be a good person.
Well, you got to not be selfish. And the second, like, I was just, one of the calls I was on driving up here, like that project in chat with this huge facility. It's like $105 million project.
$105 million project.
Yeah, it's a doozy.
Wait, who's in charge of it?
Me.
Yeah, you. So here's $105 million. I need you to do X, Y, Z and get it done.
Well,
what's your time frame in it with it?
We got to close a few things. We're ironing out the capital stack and the equity model right now. But once that's done, it's like we'll do some rollouts. Like you'll see it in Rolling Stone type stuff. It's big, and there's some major names.
Where's it going to be?
It's in Chattanooga.
Yeah.
On the river. It's a place called well, I can't say what.
$105 million is going to be pretty as hell.
Oh, it's going to be so sick. It's going to be so sick. But you know, that whole thing's great, but some money started moving around.
Yeah.
People get weird.
Yeah.
You think people are great, and then millions of dollars in the mix, that you'll see their heart real quick.
Yes.
You know, and it's pretty crazy. Yeah. But you know, in the industry, if you're not right, you're out.
Yeah.
This full stop. And you can't.
We got a lot of choices.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who want to be like,
right. And
I tell so there's a songwriter I've gotten to know the last year named Dallas Davidson. And he did the commencement speech. I think it was UGA for their music industry or songwriter program at the end of when the kids were graduating. Mm-hmm. And he got up there and he's like, you know, getting them all hyped up and he's like, woo, yeah, you graduated. And then he's like, you know, let's talk about the industry. He's like, I'm your competition. Mm-hmm. He's like, you're going to beat me? He's like, I got Grammys. I got platinum records. I got this. Like, I'm not going to just give this to you.
Right.
So you got to be so good to get through the door. You got to be good enough. That's the key. But the thing is, like, imagine having that level of competition and then being a crappy person people can't trust.
Right.
You can't go. You can't make it. But the guys who are good dudes but are sharp and good enough at what they do, you got a shot.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. Be good enough. Like, you got to be good. And when I say good enough, I'm not saying be mediocre. Like, you got to be good.
Right.
But it's not about being the guy who just absolutely shreds on guitar. It's like, can you write good hooks? I write good hooks. That's where I live. I write the real catchy parts and the melodies.
Gotcha.
That's my superpower in a
I'm
studio.
going to note that. Make a note of that for us so when I need a good hook.
Yeah, holler. I'm good at that part.
All right.
But the other stuff is like, you got to be the good hang. You're sitting in a studio all day. Like, people got to want to be around you. You got to be fun. You know what I mean? But
you don't want to be draining. You don't want no draining people around.
Yeah, and if they can't trust you, none of those other things even matter. Like, there's not even a conversation to be had. So it's a lot like, if you're a good person, I think it works out. Yeah. It's worked out for me. The doors that open for me can't open, and they keep opening.
That's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
Right.
And
Except for you're only one person.
I am one person, but
you got a good team now.
I've got a great team now. We've grown from me and one of my interns I hired in, this guy named DeWitt. He's the man, and we're gonna come back and both be on this at some point. So
yeah,
you meet him because he's literally the textbook like poster child person for this program. Grew up in Orange Mound,
love to talk
in
to
Memphis,
him.
and like that place is wild. And he made it out of there. And now he's helping kids. And it's great. But anyways, we grew this thing from nothing, and we have been screwed over so many times. I mean, bad. Like, people have gone after us, and I'm like, guys, we are going to turn the other cheek and we're going to keep it moving because what we're doing is legit and the work is too good and we're too good at it. And there's good to be done in the world, and we're going to go focus on that. Like, put your blinders on, keep your head down, be so good at what you do and be so good as a person that people can't ignore you anymore. And it went from literally 0 to less than 0 to, last year we secured $2.5 million.
Yeah.
And we're going against thank you. And some of these grants, we're going against every other huge, legacy powerhouse, big organization in the state of Tennessee. And we secured the grants.
That's great.
You know what I mean? It's that's not normal.
Yeah.
And then the access and the opportunities for these artists we're working with and these labels and these big producers and we're doing these producer writer camps. We rent a huge house and it's this cool thing that benefits the org, where, you rent a house and invite the top players and writers and creators from all over the world and cut records for a week. And then we might do 40 songs in a week.
Damn.
And the nonprofit gets 10% of every song that releases. But these are we're cutting records for A-listers, and every person in the room, they are as big as it gets. And I'm sitting here watching it all unfold. I'm like, holy crap, we did this? What? And the last camp we did was Rodney Jerkins, his Dark Child. He is the top rung of the ladder on earth for what he does.
Yeah.
No questions asked. I'm sitting there at the table watching him talk to all these other mondo producers in the morning before we start the day, just pouring into him and showing him love and inspiring. And then I'm like, what is happening? How are we in the middle of this right now? This is crazy. But that was all, the product of trying to help kids. And everybody's like, oh, you help kids, but you really help kids. We super trust you now. It's not we kind of trust you. You're a fam now. So
see, and I believe there's a purpose of why you got to see that and why you feel this way. You're sitting there going, wow, what am I doing here? Look at this. I'm in front of, because you're going to be that person in a decade.
I hope so.
You know what I'm saying? No, you are. Yeah. You are. I mean, you're destined for that for sure, because you want good things and you're a good person. You're trying to do all the right things and you're helping others. Yeah. I mean, that's what it's about. You know, it's not about what you have. It's what you do with what you have. 100%. I say that all the time.
There's this guy I know, he talks about, there's a book about it, but basically you die with $0 in your bank account.
Yeah, exactly what you came in with.
Yeah, he's because at that point, that means, especially if you're successful and made a lot of money, that means you either didn't overextend yourself to the point where you have worked so much that you have such extreme wealth, but you missed out on life. But the other part is most of these people in this scenario have given away enough and used their platform for good and their power and their success and everything they've been, earned. But they're like, hey, I got this, but I'm not dying with money in my account. I'm going to do something great with it.
Sure.
And I think those people are out there.
Yep.
And they just need to all bond together and change the world. But
and how about Dynamo Studios?
Yeah, help us out, guys. We need money. It's ironic because we secured all that funding, but some of those are reimbursement grants, so we have to spend money and then we get reimbursed with those big government grants. That's how it works. So
Gotcha.
people are like, oh, you secured a few $1 million, you're good. And they stop writing checks. I'm like, no, please keep supporting us. But it's all good. We're fine now.
How does that work? Tell the viewers a little bit about grants and how that works and operates.
Yeah, so grants are...
Because there's a lot of grants out there that people don't even realize they have access to.
Yeah, if you're trying to do a nonprofit, or you're at a school and you're a teacher or principal, or you run your own org or whatever, or even if you're an artist, there's grants out there. There's people who are like, I believe in supporting X, Y, and Z vision or X, Y, and Z mission or whatever. And they're like, you find the grant, you apply for it and build a relationship with whoever the funder or foundation or whatever is. And then you apply for it and they write you a check to chase the dream. You know, I helped one guy, I helped him get a grant. He got like $15,000 to create an album as an indie artist. You know, and that's not enough to cut a full length, but it's a good chunk.
Sure.
It's a really good chunk.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah, I mean, like,
A little
I'd
shot
say
in the
average
arm.
song, if you're an indie artist and you're working with like a team of people that believe in you, you probably get a song $2,000.
Yeah.
You know, get it cut and produced and mixed and whatever. But you know, so it was a good chunk. But that was an art foundation called Arts Build, and they're like, yeah, that sounds cool. We believe in that. We got artist works grants, and they got that guy got a bag out of it, a big bag. And then, you know, we had workforce development grants is a thing where art nonprofits mess up. They say we're an arts-based nonprofit. I'm like, stop saying that, because there's arts funds out there. But as you're seeing right now, like if a political move happens and the arts and humanities are no longer a priority, what are you gonna do?
Right.
Everybody needs jobs.
Yep.
At every stage in every political climate, no matter what the situation is. Like, you need to adopt the creative economy model, because if you can still teach the fine arts through that, but it's workforce development, it's a completely different conversation. But if you just Google like workforce development grants, federal, like that, it's just gonna just endless list of opportunities. You do it by your state, same thing. Or if you're like songwriter grants, national, Google that.
Yeah.
You'll find resources where it's like, oh, there's $5,000 here, 50 grand there, 10K here, whatever. Like, it's there.
It's amazing how much is there and what you're just sharing right now. And I guarantee you a lot of viewers, they probably don't know this.
They don't know.
You know what I mean? You hear about it, like you hear about grants, but you think, it's a small portion. It's, you got a selected few, but not that anybody could apply.
Yeah, I mean, if you apply, you better come to the table the right way and like have it together, because once again, competition is bonkers.
Yeah.
But when we got those big grants, like, you know, we came to the table with like a long track record. We had financial history and like proof of fiscal responsibility, and like, you know, success stories and data and all the things you need, and like legit partnerships and
Sure.
branded, what's it called? Brand sponsored partnerships and programming. So we walk in there like that, like a little nonprofit, and they're like, oh man, how, like, your budget's got to be huge. I'm like, actually, it's not. you know, we're doing it
How
this way.
do you get paid? How do you get paid on a nonprofit? How
So
do you make money?
nonprofit doesn't mean no money. Like, it means
Right.
you're not doing it to get rich.
Right.
So right now with what our thing is, like, you know, we're paying our guys like pretty well, which is great. And because our thing is like, we want industry pros, and like, you could fall out of bed being a freelance videographer and make $85K, and you just like do your thing and crush it, like 85, no problem.
Yeah.
Schools can't afford that, right? So what we typically do is we'll go into the school and be like, hey, we're going to fund this position ourselves. I'll pay the bill and, you know, pay people well. And then the school's like, this is great. We want the program forever. What do we got to do? I was like, all right, cool. You pay this person's base salary. So a teacher in Chattanooga, I think starting salary is like $50K. So compared to what they'd make on their own is nothing, right?
Sure.
So I'm like, you cover that, cover their benefits. I'm going to pay them another 30 or 40K on top of that. So they get like paid super good to help kids.
Right.
So, you know, we've got lots of ways to keep our budget really lean and tight and make it where I don't have to raise an astronomical amount of money every year.
Right.
And, you know, we do that, but like, you know, we're about to launch this curriculum thing that is going to be a pretty substantial deal, like nationally. I'm not joking. I think it's going to corner the market nationally, but That's going to make a ton of money. Like it's going to make millions of dollars.
Tell us about it. Come on.
So the way it works is, in the simplest sense of like, you've got 2 districts. So schools don't have money it's hard for people like staffing, but they got money for stuff and curriculum, right? So the curriculum that's
What
available.
kind of money do they have?
Dude,
average.
Millions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So every school.
Every county that has if you got a city school district, I can almost guarantee you that is the largest line item in the city budget. Same for county government as well.
Right.
Like in our county in Chattanooga, or Hamilton County, that's the largest single line item is the school district. So they have to, and the thing is like you need this stuff to teach and run schools and make sure it's aligned to standards and state testing and whatever. So this curriculum is expensive. I was like, all right, cool. Well, I know how to teach this and I know our curriculum works really well and it's like super effective. So if we've got 2 districts per state and we've got 4 schools per district, $7,500 a pop, like you're breaking $3 million a year gross easy. Mm-hmm. But that's evergreen content. So like you get it done, like
it's forever.
That it's closer to a net of 3.
Right.
So like that's the other thing with nonprofits. Everybody tries to scale too quickly and they get too big and can't maintain it. Like if you got a way to maintain and sustain, like, and that back to the thing, like just because it's nonprofit doesn't mean you don't make money. I've got the guys who are going to be running that division of Dynamo. They're going to be making 6 figures.
Yeah.
Because they're leading to a thing that makes millions of dollars and supports the whole entire operation between all 3 cities. Like they'll earn a legit salary.
Right.
It might not be like, a few $100K, but like, 120, 150, like, yeah. I mean, that's great money.
Can they make more?
Yeah, for sure.
Can they make $500,000?
I mean, if the thing blows up and like we corner the market globally, then yeah, sure. But that's the thing though. I mean, if we corner this market or nationally, we're cornering it globally because we've got 2 different majors, like major labels involved with it. Guitar Center's also like their whole team got in the mix and they want to do the publishing and distribution. They're preferred vendors for almost every school district in the country, and a government vendor exchange that's like really hard to get. So we're like, all right, cool, we've already got the thing that's legit, it's all credentialed, we've got the industry stamps and all those endorsements, and we've got distribution and publishing. Like, right, let's send it, you know what I mean? Sure. And if we do that, it's not gonna stop domestically, it'll go international real quick. That's awesome. So I mean, that's what we're aiming for. And like we aim big. I had a funder / mentor I was talking to about a month ago, and I was like, yeah, it's interesting, like, we're killing it and people still like are kind of like weird about it, and like we don't know if this is legit. And he's like, dude, you guys talk this huge game and you've been doing that for like a decade now, and you say we're gonna do this and then you go do it, and you see this other thing that can't happen and you're just gonna do it and then you go do it. Right. And he's like, they don't know how to handle that. Right. So I mean, like, we're saying like, yeah, national, international, like, I'm not joking. We're gonna do it. Like, we got a studio in Cape Town now. Like, I mean, it's like crazy. Yeah. They say, I'm from the show me state for a reason, right? Mm-hmm. You could tell all you want, tell, but if you show them, they can't dispute it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Oh, that's what I was saying earlier. So you just keep being great, keep doing what you say you're gonna do. Be so good they can't ignore it. Yeah. And treat people right along the way. It works. I mean, it's worked great for us right now. And I mean, everything that's coming is insane. And like, we're talking with another, trying to remember who I can like say and can't say. Come on, let me guess. There's got to be some good people out there. Maybe a Ludacris type of guy. There's some big Atlanta artists. Big Atlanta artists, maybe an Usher. Just big Atlanta artists. Really, really big. Yeah. Super Bowl level. That's awesome. You know what I mean? Yeah, Super Bowl. Anyways, but we're talking with some of them, and they're like, oh, well, we need a studio, but our foundation's doing this, like you're doing that. Let's work together. And I'm like sitting here, I'm like, what the heck? Like, I got off a plane from Dallas and had to miss my flight to go to this thing at a school with this. This one was with Ludacris. I got off the plane, missed my flight home to go to this thing, and like we pull up at the school, and then Ludacris walks around the corners like pouring into the kids, and now we're like, all right, like, let's team up and like keep helping kids and like see how we can really blow it up from there. And we've got these grants in Tennessee, and I'm like, oh man, well, we've got like, $600K in gear in Chattanooga. I'm like, I don't have room for another $1 million in gear, let alone another, or like another 600K gear, let alone another million. So I was like, where are we going to move all this gear? So now I'm like, all right, let's move it to Atlanta and open a studio there. And then I've got 2 different huge people that are like, we want to open a studio to work with our foundation, but also we need a place to record. So I was like, I've got the gear, you get the space, like, boom, easy deal, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, how is this happening? But it's like, you just be good, treat people right, and those doors open. And I met that guy because I was in a session with my buddy Rourke Bailey. He's like, I got this dude coming. You got to meet him. You guys are going to really hit it off. He used to be in education. Now he's like the chief of production for this big artist. I was like, all right, bet. And sure enough, we knock out this song and they're just chilling. And then guy pulls up and we hit it off. And then like a few days later, we're like, all right, cool. Like, let's formalize this partnership. It's on.
Right.
You know, but that was because that producer I met with Rourke, he's like, y'all are good people. Like, let's just make this happen.
Sure.
There doesn't need to be a whole political, like, formal, like, emails, you know, introduce so-and-so, like, set up a meeting. It's like, no, just pull up the sessions. And that's the thing about the music industry. If you're in the room, you're probably legit.
Right.
So, especially...
Well, they're going to find out if you are or not.
Well, they're going to find out quick, for sure. But the thing is, like, with some of these guys, accessibility is, like, the thing they protect and guard because everybody wants to be with them, right? So, if you're in the room and somebody else comes in the room, there's no vetting. You're in. Like, you're cool. You're friends already, you know, basically. And that's what happened there. And now we're teaming up and we're going to open a big old studio in Atlanta. And all our kids who are down here get a safe studio, smoke-free, gun-free. Like, you guys go work, apply what you learn in schools with, like, running sessions with actual artists and producers. Oh, by the way, this A-list celebrity artist is also going to be cutting records here for all of their upcoming albums, you know?
Right. And they're going to be able to sit there behind the machines and do all the work for it.
Yeah, but that was literally because this one guy and I hit it off, and then he's like, I'm going to put you on with this dude because you guys need to know each other, and that's it. The circle, when you get, I'm not big, but the industry at the top is so small. It's so small. Like, I'm a degree of separation to, like, any big artist out there, and I only got, like, I don't know, 2,700 followers on Instagram, right? Like, I'm not big, but the thing is, like, I'm connected to everybody now. But once you get there, you're in,
right?
You know, they're willing to put you on because they're like, no, we vetted you before, like, you're good now. And you help kids, like, yeah, who do you need to talk to? Like, let me tee it up.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
That's good.
Yeah.
So, you know, talk about different things. You talk about Atlanta, you talk about Nashville, you got the pop, you got the, you know, the rappers, the order, and then the hip hop. And then, of course, you know, you got Nashville's country. It's totally two different waves.
Yes.
You know, what do you like better?
I hated Nashville for so long, and I still kind of have different feelings about it. And I got a good reminder of how much I used to dislike it a few weeks ago. I was on this tour bus for this really big artist. He came through chat, was playing a show. Yeah. So we're on a tour bus, and, like,
who was it?
I'm not gonna say because there's people with their camp.
Yeah,
and these are some the artist is big, but the camp was some up and comers, and they're like, oh, we work with this label. I was like, oh man, I'm real tight with that same label, but, like, the Atlanta division, we're doing this, and I was like all excited. I was like, oh yeah, like we can break bread over this. This is awesome. And they were, like, trying to big time and, like, be, like, posturing. I was just like, what are you doing? I was like, oh yeah, it's Nashville. I forgot. But the thing is once you get through all that, these guys at the top just want to be friends and make music. Like, they're just good old boys, like, quite literally. They're like, you want to go, like, cut a record and you can go fishing later too. It's, like, no joke. Like, that's how they are. It's awesome. Yeah. They're just like, yeah, let's chill and just tell stories and talk about the glory days, whatever. And, you know, it's like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let's cut a record. You know, that's how it is. It's so cool. I love that part. It made me really start enjoying Nashville. Atlanta is crazy. But once you're with the right people, it's amazing. So I've got, like, the coolest community in Atlanta, and I'm connected to, gosh dang, like, I mean, it's everybody. I'm connected to, like, all the big dogs here, and they're really cool. Their personas might be one thing public facing, but once you like meet them in person, they're like the nicest people.
Yeah.
They're so legit. And, there's the industry's got like craziness and bad stuff everywhere you turn. But like, I believe if you find your circle and just latch on there, like you're good. And I've got an awesome circle in Atlanta. Like these are guys like, my mom passed away last fall. The Atlanta crew, these are the guys
Sorry
calling me
about
like,
that.
no, I appreciate it. It was horrible, but it was, cancer sucks. But
Cancer
anyways,
sucks. Fuck
they,
cancer.
for real, dude, that shit is terrible. But they, they're calling me every day. If they're in LA in the middle of sessions, every day they're calling me to check on me.
That's awesome.
And the Atlanta scene it's
a brotherhood.
Sick. Yes.
Yeah,
well, once you're in, like you're in,
yeah.
You cut your teeth.
So we had a few, Black Elvis and Supa, both were on my show as well.
Mm-hmm.
And both, Grammy Award winners, worked with ushers, so great people, just down to earth, and very similar. What you're saying is in line with what they're saying.
Yeah.
But the reality is, if you get around a bad person, you'll know real quick.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, the bad people don't hide it either. They think
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like,
cool,
you'll know it real quick.
Whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, nah.
It's out in the open.
Yeah, they think that's the way to be. I'm like, no. And that's the thing. Like, a lot of these rappers and stuff I work with, they try to push, like, this whole gang persona and whatever. And a lot of them aren't joking. Like, it actually is. But some of them, it's like, yo, chill out. Like, that's not, like, you don't come from that, first off. But also, you don't want to be part of it because I see the fallout firsthand with the kids I work with.
Yeah.
And they idolize these rappers, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, guys, why do you got to put guns and hard drugs that'll kill you in your videos and like push this whole thing? Because I see it. Like, last school year, I had 9 kids get killed.
Oh, wow.
This year, I'm at 7.
That's horrible.
These are kids I knew firsthand. Like, I looked them in the eye and taught them from middle school through high school, and they got killed.
God, that hurts.
Yeah, it's terrible. And the irony is, it's a good reminder. One of our main studios in Chattanooga is an old police precinct. It's right across from a cemetery. I've got like several kids buried across the street from me.
That's horrible.
It is horrible, but it is a good reminder of like why we're there and what we're doing. But the industry's crazy, man. Like the bad stuff, like you say, they're like you know it, but it's also like so unnecessary and it's unfortunate.
Do you ever turn down an artist? Comes in, you're like, I'm not working with you.
All the time, yeah. I mean, I've missed out on life-changing amount of money because I wouldn't work with certain artists. It was guaranteed like hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not more, and that would have benefited me personally, not even the org.
Sure.
But like I'm not.
Good for you.
I'm not gonna cross the bridge away from where my morals and integrity are. But
like, you know what? It's unfortunate because money does change some people, and that's the problem. They forget where they come from, and they think that they're entitled to more because of it.
Yeah.
But the reality is they all started somewhere.
Yeah, they all started somewhere. It's like, guys, somebody took you under your wing.
Yep.
Or under their wing, and they believed in you. That's the cool thing with this music stuff, though, at the same time, is like the good guys, they remember that person fondly as the most important person in their life who moved the needle for them, and they all want to be that person for someone else.
Right.
So, like, these people, even if it's like FaceTiming with a student or hopping on Zoom, if like there's a kid in Atlanta, like they're linking up with a kid, big dog in LA or someone in like Cape Town or the UK or England, or not UK, but England or Europe or whatever, like, they're just like, let's hop on and like pour into somebody for 20 minutes.
Right.
It takes nothing to actually move the needle for a kid other than just intentional time.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
If you do more than that, it's like, we're going to change a life real quick. But if you want to actually move the needle, you just have to genuinely care about a kid and do it in a way that the kid recognizes that.
Right.
It's life changing because these kids I work with, they do not come from a situation where people actually care. Yeah.
That sucks.
It does suck, but it's part of why we're here.
Right.
It's why we're here entirely, honestly.
And that's a good thing because there's people like you trying to do something about it, which is important.
Yeah.
And that's why you're in charge of $105 million, to make sure it gets put in the right spot.
Well, that one's separate from Dynamo. It's too big, but it'll benefit Dynamo. As long as that project's successful, like that money gets out there. But yeah, I mean, that's why I'm in the position I'm in, is people trust me and they know like, oh, these guys are going to do good and they're going to help. They're going to like actually help.
Right.
But here we are, and we're just hanging on for dear life.
So what's next for Kessler? How, looking down the road here, would you like to see yourself 3-5 years from now?
Oh gosh.
What's the goal?
I don't know. It's like, well, I keep setting goals and then they happen in like a year, and I'm just like,
That's good. That's what you're supposed to.
no, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. There's this artist named Genesis the Gray Kid. He used to be rapper and writer for big dogs and labels and stuff. Now he's a painter, like fine artist, and he's like got stuff all over the world museums. But he's like super deep and always wants to get like real with me and stuff. And he asked me a question years ago. And he's like, what's your dream day? Because he's like, you're doing all these things. And you're so excited. He's like, let's simplify it. Like, what is your dream day? So it's like, what's your goals, whatever. I was like, I don't think I can have a day. I need a week. Like, I want to wake up every day with my wife and my kids. And like, I don't want to have to go to work. I just want to go do my thing though.
Exactly.
Like there's this one funder and he's like, dude, just go produce. You're going to make more money. And like, you're not going to have to like fundraise or struggle. Like just go all in on the music industry and do your thing and like go hard and grow there. And I was like, I don't want to. Like I wake up every day like, all right, we're going to go work with this kid. I can't wait. I don't wake up every day like I want to go make a hit. I do enjoy that.
All right.
But like, I just want to go help people. So I think my goal is just like, if we can get all this stuff, all these dominoes to fall with these like massive life-changing projects, and I can be positioned where I don't have to worry about anything but showing up for a kid. That's all I care about. That's the dream for me, honestly.
That's good.
Like I want to help. I'm not saying this like I want everybody at my funeral selfishly, but if I die and there's like, 20,000 people at my funeral saying like, he did this, he helped me here, he changed my life there, he connected me to so-and-so, like that's what I want. I want to die where like I have my name etched in stone for actually like making a difference.
You actually said exactly what my whole motto is. I've always told my kids, I always ask, what's your goal? And I said, the goal is to pack the house when I die.
Yes.
To know that I made a impact on so many people that there's a line waiting to get in.
Yes.
Just to pay the respect. So
we're
aligned. We're aligned with that.
I was a world history major, right? And like I grew up loving history and like studying these like prolific people who people talk about for, hundreds or thousands of years even. I'm like, man, what do I got to do to like make such a big difference in the world or do something so big that like people remember? I don't just die.
Yeah.
Like there's legacy there. I want to be that guy.
That's right.
I want legacy. And I want it because I did something big. I want it because I help people. That's my dream.
And there's one other piece I'm going to go ahead and tweak on your way. It's not that I have to go to work. Mm-hmm. It's I get to go to work.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I tell my people all the time, you get to go to work. You don't have to go to work. You get to. And be thankful for that.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people that wish that they could.
Dude, it's like literally the ultimate privilege getting to go do what I do.
Yeah.
Like every day, when I wake up, I'm just like, or it's like I have these reminders every now and then. I'm like, holy cow, like we get to do this. I'm working with so-and-so. I helped that kid. I got so-and-so texting me. Like I had to call a kid, reach out to me. I didn't talk to him in years. And he's like, hey, I'm about to get married. My girl's pregnant. I need help. Like I need advice. Like I know like you had your kids and whatever. Like he doesn't have a dad.
Right. And
he reached out to me. I was like, oh my gosh.
Right.
This is what it's about.
That's
and
right.
like, I gave him some real love and they had their kid and like,
That's awesome.
He's not walking in with fear now. I'm just like, man, this is so special.
That's what it's about.
Yeah. It's not about like the grades or a kid getting a job. I mean, there's like, that's part of it, but like, we get to actually help people, like really help them.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, before we go, anything you want to say to the whole crowd out there today? Tell them how they can find you, how they can support you, and help your nonprofit as well.
Yeah, so we're a nonprofit. Like we've been successful. We still got to raise money. Every dollar when it's given, especially through our giving portal on our website, just dynamostudios.org, none of that goes to salaries. It's 100% to programming and supporting the kids directly. But if you want to keep up with what we do, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, like just at Dynamo Studios, you'll find it. We're the only one. And when you see it, you'll see exactly the work happening like firsthand. And then, YouTube, I think, is like Dynamo Studios TV or something. I don't remember why we did that,
Cool.
but that's
we'll
what
pop
is.
it up here. We'll put it up.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. You heard it again today. As your boy Wham Bam always says, remember, if your life was a movie, would it be worth watching? And if the answer is no, then stop being ordinary and start being extraordinary. Till next Wednesday, baby. Stay positive and keep testing negative. I'm your boy Wham Bam, and I'm out.